download it at a faster pace than any other social media app currently, and it targets 18 to 24-year-olds. Your 18 to 24-year-olds will not be on Instagram probably, and they will not be on Facebook definitely. Okay, but they will be on TikTok. The problem with TikTok is there's easy. So here's the thing: I'm not going to go back to. I'll listen to his stuff because he'll tell you much better than I can. But TikTok is a great thing for you guys to look at as well. But Brady Shearer at ProChurchTools.com.
All right, I didn't talk nearly fast enough the first session, so here we go. I want to be able to get to some of your questions when we get done, and also some of the questions that I am most often asked. I'm assuming that probably you have the same questions many of you sit in this room. So I'm going to do my very best to get us moving along here, get through this as best we can. Turn to point number 3. Selecting the decor for your dinner party, right? If you're anything like me, I am an incredibly creative person. Like, some people I'm assuming can't stand me sometimes because it can be over the top. Like, I just love to play. We're my church plant. We're doing this Elf movie, the movie Christmas movie Elf. We're having this Elf party for the families in our town at the school, and I've got all of these insane, crazy, fun ideas. And I texted someone yesterday and said, "Will you tell me if I begin to get annoying on our post in our group, our launch team group, because I don't want to overwhelm anybody." But the one area I'm not creative in is design. In fact, I stink at it. I hate art. I can look at a piece of something that everybody else will be marveling over, and I'm like one of those that's like, what is this?
Nice frame.
Yes. This does nothing for me. That looks like my first grader could have done it. I can't do it. So I had to find tools that made design work easy for me, and here I list in point 3 the top ones that I've used. First of all, let's talk best practices. Minimal text. I follow one church whose shall remain nameless. When they make a post, first of all, they post all blasting information, announcements, but that's besides the point. But in every one of their announcements, they are using some of these tools that I tell you to use so that your posts look better, so they're aesthetically pleasing, but they'll put 2 sentences worth of text in that little bitty info. You gotta think about, if I were driving past and this was on a sign, could I read it?
Right.
If you can't, do not put it on one graphic image. So for example, let's talk about my elf party. If I post a picture of the elf party on the Daleville community webpage, Facebook page for the whole community, and say, hey, this is open, a free event for all families, whatever, I'm going to post the picture of our logo for that event. But I will then, in the actual post, type things out. I won't make one image that says, come on December 6th from 6:30 to 8:30. We're going to show the movie Elf. We're going to have a free meal. We're going to have a hot chocolate bar. We're going to have pictures with the elf. I'm not going to put all that on one little image, but many people try to do that. Don't do it. It's one of those things, again, that people will just tune you out when you try to do that. So don't get overly, if you're like me and don't do design, don't get overly confident with these tools because they are so user-friendly. Don't get overly confident and think I can put anything I want to on here as long as it looks pretty, because it doesn't look pretty in the end. Use a variety of images and content. Pay attention to what you tend to share or like on social media, and by that I mean when you're laying in bed at night on your phone, or you're sitting at work and you're bored, or you're just going to check out for a minute and you're scrolling on something, what makes you stop? Start posting that stuff. What does it make you stop? Is it something that's funny?
Church pranks, there we go.
Is it something that's inspirational? Is it cat videos? You all, I keep referring to cat videos, but it's like the #1 shared thing that people love on social media. You share that. If you share a GIF file on your social media channel, your church's social media, with a cat jumping or a crazy look on a cat's face and say, hey, help me caption this, I guarantee you're going to gain some serious traction on that bad boy. People love goofy stuff like that. They love to just take that moment and check out from the stress of the world and say, okay, yeah, just for a second, my mind's gonna go here and it's just gonna lighten my mood. So think about the things that you like and what you will often like for people. Baby pictures, that's like a giant one, right? People have new baby, like it's gonna be like 200 and some likes and you're, post things that you like to see. Use people and images and tag them. So at Easter and Christmas, this is another really big thing that people are doing. Mother's Day, Father's Day, you can do it on a random day. You set up a photo booth area in your narthex, and you have someone who you say to everybody ahead of time, hey, we're gonna have family photos here today. And then you are posting the pictures on your social media channel later in that day, and you say, hey, it was so great to see you all at Mother's Day today. And you tag the people who were in the photos. Boom, 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 the algorithm's going nuts. It's going crazy, and you're going to gain some traction from that. And then people are going to look at your, that's going to show up in the people that you tag. It's going to show up in their friends' news feed, and their friends are going to say, oh, whoa, our church does like some different stuff that I haven't seen before. So every time you're posting a picture of anyone or anything from your church, tag the people in it. Ask for other eyes on your graphics. Here's one thing that I went and did intentionally, and this is just in media in general. I sought out a friend of mine who was not a follower of Jesus. And I said, would you look at our church website? Would you look at our social media and tell me what you think about our church from just having looked at this? Get a totally different set of eyes, because, guys, we eat, sleep, and breathe church, don't we? It's all we do. Get a different set of eyes and ask for an objective opinion on everything that you have in our offering. Okay, here are my favorite apps. Word Swag, super easy. You get the app on your phone. It has ready-made templates in there. It's got a little search icon. You can pull up pictures and you can type anything you want to put a picture of, and then you can choose how you want the text to look. It's amazing. It makes you look like a graphic designer. I will also say this, they just came out with a new one not too long ago called Story Swag that helps you with videos. And I'm so excited. Because it gives you like ready-made stuff that again makes you look like you know what you're doing. It makes you look like you spent like 4 hours on something that took you 4 seconds, right? Not 4 seconds, but a bit of an exaggeration. But yeah, something that you can do pretty easily. Adobe Spark Post is another one. Okay, I skip up over the top there to the web section. I also like Canva. Canva is my absolute favorite. If you're not on there, you absolutely should be. There's a pro feature that you can subscribe to, which is worth every penny if you decide to do it. It's only like $12 a month, but the majority of it's free. And again, it makes you look like you know what you're doing. If you say I'm having let's just say our Christmas message, right? Oh, can I just give you one little, this is just bang for your buck, extra from my soapbox today. Quit advertising things like church choir cantatas and expecting that people are going to be like, oh, that's amazing, I want to come. That sounds great. I want to visit you on Christmas because you're having a cantata. Not that there's anything wrong with a cantata, but people don't know what a cantata is, okay? I totally lost where I was going. Oh yeah, if you're making a post about your Christmas service, you can type in there Christmas lights, and it'll pop up, and you'll see all these different options. You just type in your own information, download it, and it's ready to go. They even have a thing on there now where you can animate your pictures so that the text will slide in at different places. Again, it's that element of different that causes people to stop scrolling. Because all of a sudden they're like, oh, something's moving. What was that? Do something different. Unsplash is a good place for photos. Lightstock. I love Lightstock. Lightstock, their tagline is it's something like non-cheesy Christian photos. So if you want to use photos that are nice actual by photographers photos, they offer every single week one free download. And they're great pictures. It'd be like a nice picture of communion bread, or the shadow of the cross, or just something like that. But you can go on there every week, just get your free one. But they're also a fairly inexpensive place to actually buy photos or video clips. Once a month, they offer a free video clip. And again, these are very, very well done, high quality clips, and they're free to you. Okay, I'm gonna skip on. Okay, so let's just go to number 4 here. Clarifying the order of events. When you're talking about a dinner party, you gotta figure out, okay, when am I gonna serve what? At what point are we gonna play a game? When are we gonna introduce each other, or whatever else? And it's kind of like that when it comes to social media for us as leaders. We don't know how to schedule and how to think in terms of, it's the whole saying that people reference many times about you're trying to change the wheels on a moving bus. Does ministry ever feel like that to you? Feels like that to me most days. And so it's difficult to catch our breath and to be proactive in our planning. When we take time and we become proactive in our planning, it makes us better at what we do. I know Dr. Blake references these kind of things in his podcast and stuff all the time, but I want to challenge you to do this. I want to challenge you to go home today, and it's the 7th. Today. Oh, it's my sister's birthday. November 7th. I want to challenge you that before the 10th of this month, you sit down with a calendar and you calendar out one post per day. One post idea per day for the next, until the end of this month. And then, to take it a step further, because again, you're changing the wheels on this bus that's constantly moving. Go onto your calendar at the end of November, and on the 25th of the month, I don't know which day of the week that is, but assuming that's not a Sunday, I want you to schedule time in there. And so on your schedule on November 25th, it's going to say, schedule December's social media. If you don't do it, you won't post things consistently. And here's also what happens. If you get behind the 8 ball, you can't be creative. But if you can do like a brain dump, so until I started this whole church plant thing, I was managing groups and pages for a bunch of different entities, right? Ministries. I had to remove myself from there because I said I can only focus on one thing right now. But what I would do is I would schedule 2 to 3 hours, and it's only once a month. But I would schedule those 2 to 3 hours, and I would get all of our posts lined up on each of those groups and in each of those pages, just so that it was ready, and I could then completely forget about it. And then what that enabled me to do was the whole rest of the month, every time I see something, I screenshot it and I make a note. Oh, I love how that church did this. Y'all, it's okay to steal other churches' ideas, right?
That's right.
Take a screenshot, make it your own, change it, whatever. I love how this business did that. We can learn from how people who do social media well do social media. Think back to a couple of months ago. Did you hear about the chicken sandwich debacle? The chicken sandwich debate that was between Popeye's Chicken, Wendy's, McDonald's, and poor KFC. They tried, but they didn't even really make it into the arena. But here's what was happening here. These brands are talking back and forth about the other brands, but in essence, what it ended up doing was giving free publicity to everybody that was involved.
That's right.
It made my daughter say, I want to go try one of Popeye's chicken sandwiches. I can't imagine anybody beating Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich, So
right.
it's that kind of thing. A few years
Christian
ago,
chicken.
I think it was McDonald's, confronted Wendy's on Twitter. And they made a comment about, or no, it was vice versa. Our beef is never frozen or whatever. And whichever brand it was responded back in such an appropriate way. But what they could have done, and what we're tempted to do when someone comes at us on social media, we're tempted to want to go on there and delete that. And we want to hide it, and we're like, we don't want anybody to see this, it's getting really messy. But But what ended up happening was those two companies were kind of duking it out in a very respectful way, in a very public arena, that wound up making everyone involved look really good. So it was an unintended consequence there. And so I want to just randomly throw that at you too, when people, because it will happen, when people go on and leave a negative review on your church's page, or when they make a negative comment that seems inappropriate, or you're like, I wish they would have said that. Our temptation is to hit that delete button and remove that post. We do more harm than good when we do that. I want to remind you that at this table, there's allowed to be disagreement. Appropriately so. But when you say to someone, your opinion is not welcome here, I'm going to delete that, everyone else around the table takes notice and says, I can't speak up. My opinion is not welcome here. It's not, they say it is, but it's not really welcome here. So I want to challenge you, instead of going to delete comments, I want to challenge you to do this. Take it offline. So if someone gets on there and says, that Pastor Blake, he is so horrible and his sermons are so stuffy and he wronged my family in the daycare and they removed my grandmother's bust from off of the piano on the left side that nobody's ever supposed to touch, and I can't believe he did all of that. You can get back on there and you say something gracious in return. What was it? Keep sweet? Keep sweet.
It's good.
Yeah. You respond in a gracious way and you say, isn't Dr. Blake, yeah, he's awesome. Thanks for reaching out. We appreciate your opinion on that. Can we take you to coffee sometime so that we can talk about this? Or you could say something like, if you're like, it's super hostile, you can move from here to right here before you move to the coffee phase. So you could say something like, hey, can I message you some information? So then you take it off of your page, the constant dialogue, to a private message. The goal, though, still is the face-to-face, right? But instead of, because what drives us in that, when that happens? It's fear. We're afraid of what people are going to be like, oh my word, look at how they responded to that. Or we're afraid of what other people are going to think because of what so-and-so said, or that they're going to agree with it, or whatever else. Fear is not from the Lord, right? Fear is definitely not what should drive us when we're making our decisions. There are times, however, when it is appropriate, when someone gets super belligerent or uses vulgar language. You could go on, you can delete the comment, or here's what I like to do generally instead of deleting. If it just goes completely off the rails, which sometimes it just does, no matter how gracious you've tried to respond. Hit the top right-hand corner, the little arrow, and hit hide from feed. Hide from my news feed. Because then, nobody will know you deleted it, but new people can't see what happened on there. Does that make sense? But again, use that sparingly, and I would caution you to err on the side of trying to intentionally create conversations instead. Okay, here's what I want you to do at your table really quickly. I want you, in 1 minute, to look at the people at your table, and I want you to come up with one conversational post idea. So what's a question you could ask on your page, your personal page, or your church page? Whichever you pick, whichever, because it could be the same. A question that you think is an open-ended question that could spark dialogue.